Before we begin, thank you very much to DN Prime 17 for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for pitching in. It is genuinely why I can keep doing these videos for you guys every single day. If you enjoy the content, please consider pitching in on the Patreon as well. You get some exclusives, you get shout outs, you get fun stuff. So thank you very much for allowing me to continue doing this for everybody. We're talking reissues today, specifically the reissues that kind of make you scratch your head and just go, who on earth is this actually for? Whoever wanted another one of these things? And for the most part, those reissues, like the Hasbro and Takara do, are fine. You know, it's Optimus, it's Starscream, it's whatever. We're just going to rerun the most popular toys for nostalgia's sake. That's fine. That's not what we're here for. We're here for those reissues that sneak into those lines, either to fill time or fill a store shelf somewhere. And it's just the craziest thing you could possibly release. Just genuinely make you scratch your head as the release date approaches. So, we're going to go through those. Now, before we begin, I will just clarify. There are a few repaints in this list that technically aren't strict reissues, but they are more modifications of previous paint jobs, so they are just presenting the same character, but a little bit more accurate, or some cases inaccurate. So it's still in the same spirit. It's still technically a reissue. So give me a little bit of leeway here, because some of these we just got to talk about. So, with all that being said, here's 10 of the strangest Transformer reissues we ever got. We are going to start with a recent one, and this one is on the list because of the timing of it, both because it seemed opportune, but also head-scratching. So, just a couple years ago, they reissued this Optimus Prime from Power of the Primes. Out of nowhere, you could just find it at your local Target for the exact same price that it went for 6 years ago when they first released the figure. Kind of makes me wonder where that inflation went when that figure came out. Point being, it was a weird release to do because by this point, 2024, we knew Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime was on the way. Your definitive G1 Prime was prepped and ready to go. But the real reason why they likely reissued this was because of Transformers 1, to give you the idea and impression as a reminder to the general audience that Optimus Prime was once Orion Pax and evolved into said hero that we know and love today. So it's more along the lines of, okay, this is like a general reminder and introducing fans once again to the idea of Orion becoming Optimus Prime before we actually did an entire movie dedicated to that. So it's timely in that sense. But in the sense of this Optimus Prime is about to be usurped forever, yeah, this is also very strangely timed. Not that I'm complaining. It's a great toy, so hey, strange figure to reissue, but still nice. You could make an argument this is not a reissue because the place it was reissued never got it to begin with. But it is technically because, well, it is released in a reissue line, and it did previously come out, just not in Japan. So the funny thing about some of those big scale G1 toys is that they came from other toy companies. So Takara never actually released, figures like Omega Supreme, and in this case, they never released Sky-Lynx. And you would think, it's such a cool toy for back then, right? You've got, this big space shuttle and cargo container. They split into two separate beasts. The beasts can combine. They can motorize, walk. It's a cool figure for 1986, and it was one of those, birthday or Christmas figures that you got from your parents here in America. However, it was a licensed toy from another company. Just like Jetfire, just like Roadbuster and Whirl and Omega Supreme. Takara never actually released it. Fast forward a few decades, the Encore line is going on, and someone at Takara who was accounting for all the little toy companies that they had bought over the decades went, hey, I think we found a transforming robot thing. You want to take a look at it? And behold, Takara now owns the company that created Sky-Lynx's mold. So thus, a reissue of Sky-Lynx was born. It's funny because it's a memorable character if you saw this third season G1, but it's not one that you would ever consider like up for a reissue. It doesn't exactly hit the nostalgia itch in your brain the way a Seeker Jet would. But fun that Takara was able to release it. So not all of these are like, that's a really weird thing to reissue. Sometimes it's literally just the circumstances of the reissue, which is why it makes the list. In this case, yeah, that's a really bizarre set of circumstances to finally give Japan a Sky-Lynx toy. We're going to stick with Takara again, but this time it is an actual figure that was really... We're going to stick with Takara again, and it's in a similar vein of a toy that was really released in the US, but never in Japan. So when they had a chance to release it in Encore, they took it. So does this sound familiar yet? However, this time, instead of a lost figure, no, it was just a really big one. So as a special release thing, Encore did the Returns Convoy from what we know as Beast Machine's Optimus Primal, or at least the Air Attack version of the figure. This one was repainted, so the Air Attack is close to like the proper colors. This toy modifies it to take it even further, gets rid of the GPS issues, and is ultimately the most accurate version of that character that you could ever hope to own. And it just randomly came out from Takara. Keeping in mind, like, Beast Wars Returns was a weird thing in Japan. Like, they never ran the cartoon or the toy line until years and years after. It was a weird release altogether. The toys, I believe, were Toys R Us exclusive. Try getting your hands on the pink black Arachnia from that toy line. Crazy expensive figure. Crazy expensive for a deluxe, but hey, if you like that design and you actually want it show accurate, there's only one way to do it. So the fact that they would just like randomly just dump a massive monkey onto the market was incredibly random at the time. I'm still not entirely sure why, but you know, there are Beast Machines fans out there that are at least thankful for it, so I guess that's why. But still, for Takara, I would expect this from Hasbro as like one of those big like Toys R Us exclusive releases like Unicron and all that. Nope. Takara, of all places, honors Beast Machines in the best way they could. Kind of wild. Let's get back to genuine head scratchers, and let's get back to Hasbro producing them. So this is one of those where you genuinely went, like, who asked for this? Why is this necessary? Why on earth would you actually release Siege Prowl again? This was, again, like, out of nowhere. And, like, this is just a straight-up reissue, right down to the original packaging. Years after they stopped printing it, by the way. For whatever reason, Hasbro decided that this specific version of Prowl had enough demand that they actually wanted to rerun the figure, and I can't imagine for life of me why. Now, I looked on the aftermarket after this toy was announced, just to kind of see, like, is this just like a super expensive figure? Is it? And it kind of was, because the only other way to get a deluxe Prowl for your Generations collection was to get the Earthrise version, which was 2-packed, and that one was even more ludicrously expensive because that was an Amazon exclusive that a lot of people had problems getting. So throw all of that in. I feel like they just re-released this figure specifically because A, it was an available Prowl without having to like cut into the rarity of the proper Earthspark one, Earthrise one that everyone wanted, but also I get the vibe that they're doing like multi-packs of Autobots now. We just got that announced. Blue Streak is going to be in the first one. I guarantee you Prowl's probably going to be in a preceding one. So I get the feeling they were holding it back, and this is just a placeholder. Something to placate people while they got the real one prepped and ready to go. It's still a weird choice, right? To walk into a store and just randomly find a Siege figure of all things? You wonder if you're not aware. You wonder if you just like stumbled into a time machine. Because I've had stores like put out toys from like 10 years ago just because they found it in the back. And that's the vibe that came off when you saw this one in the store. Where did you get that? Why is that here? What decade is it? But hey, there's a few people who wanted it, I'm sure. So, hey, at least they got a second chance at it. We have to go to Takara one more time for this list, and trust me, like, this is actually a super weird one. Not because of the reissues themselves, though they are weird, but also because of what didn't get reissued. TJOmega was their 10th anniversary Beast Wars line with cartoon-accurate repaints, which somehow looked completely different from Hasbro's cartoon-accurate repaints for their anniversary line. Please figure that one out for me. As part of those reissues, they also did 2 members of the Triple Dakus team from Beast Wars 2nd. That is Motor Arm and Gimlet. Gimlet, on the left, oddly enough, released as a Predacon in TJOmega for some reason. But both of them represent 2 parts of a 3-member combiner team done up in more realistic colorings. You know, they are already pretty show accurate in their original releases. So here they just kind of like took the tones and made them much more realistic and just went all out to just kind of give them like a real world vibe. And there's something to that. They're actually pretty cool on their own. And getting like the Triple Dakus that I'm probably mispronouncing out of this is going to be extremely cool, right? They never reissued DJ. Keep in mind, there were actual TJOmega releases after this. I believe there were Robot Masters repaints to make those more accurate. But that does mean there was space on a store shelf somewhere where they could have released DJ and completed this combiner trio. Instead, they just opted to release 2 members and never got around to a 3rd. And this inherently makes what is otherwise 2 really cool reissues and 2 really cool like touch-ups on these toys incredibly stand out. Like, it's one of the bigger missed opportunities from Takara. It's one of the biggest head scratchers. Like, why would you even do this? Why wouldn't you do everything you could to just make sure DJ got out in some capacity? You know, like, this is why, like, Hasbro being really big on completing groups is such a good priority to have. Takara completely drops the ball on this one. People who have 2 members are now left wanting the 3rd. The only way to get the 3rd is to get the old school version. And then, of course, the color schemes are not going to match because that DJ is not given the same treatment. It leaves you with 2 very oddball pieces in your collection. Weird little time capsule of how strange releases were back at the time. But still, it just feels wrong. Our next one comes from a 2-pack where either one could actually be in this list, but one of them was actually aiming to make it more accurate than the original version, color scheme-wise, so I'm giving that a pass. We have to include this one in the list because of the mold chosen. Because once upon a time, there was a deluxe 2-pack of Galvatron versus Rodimus Prime. And that seems like the most natural thing. We get 2 packs of Optimus and Megatron all the time. But then you go, wait. There was no such thing as a deluxe Rodimus Prime. And you are correct. But there was a titanium. So out of nowhere, out of absolutely nowhere, one of the most despised Transformer toy lines of all time makes a very brief comeback as they re-release Titanium Rodimus Prime solely so they can get a rerun of Universe 2 Galvatron, a universally despised mold, one more run at the stores. I'm gonna be real with you. if we were doing a top 10 of like the worst multi-packs in Transformer history, which we very well could do that list, this one is right up there at the top. You're dealing with okay, so like you're dealing with like a really bad mold in Galvatron in the first place, but then this Rodimus, and I will actually commend it, this Rodimus design-wise is not all that bad. I kind of like the idea of a Rodimus that goes from like Winnebago straight to big buff robot, you know? Like there's something about that that works for me. But they kept the diecast in. They kept the bad joints and designs in. Like all the flaws the figure still had, it inherently kept for some reason. You know, if they'd done it in all plastic, fine. That would have been neat. It would have separated it from its original. But they didn't do that. It's still die-cast for no reason whatsoever. They added accessories. They retool it to function better. None of that was happening. It's like, it's the strangest thing to just randomly throw in, because titanium is one of those sidelines that you think like is completely separate from every other generation's Transformer, and then they just kind of dunk this one in on you. It's like if they suddenly released like an alternator into like just a random movie line for no reason whatsoever. Like strangest thing that I had ever seen in a 2-pack. Like of all molds, why a titanium? Why run that again? It's not a terrible titanium, I'll give it that. There's far worse, but again, just why? So you remember all those wacky repaints we used to get from the Platinum series for all like the Chinese zodiacs? Like, so you'd have like Year of the Snake, Year of the Dragon, Year of the Goat. And it always come with these really big figures that were repainted in like really weird ways. You might get a all translucent, clear and brown laser Optimus Prime. You might get a G1-ified Energon Omega Supreme. You never knew with this line. But the final one released in this like little subsection of Transformers was the Year of the Rooster, where they presented this. This is just straight up a reissue of hybrid style Optimus Prime, presented as just a normal special release for the brand. This one was super confusing. Number one, because all of the Year of the whatever, all the Chinese Zodiac figures to this point favored giant figures, very large toys. They liked going extra with them. But this was minuscule. If you never saw this toy before, it's what we now consider legend scaled. And admittedly, it's a good toy. Like, it's super detailed and articulated for its size. The truck mode's kind of meh, but like it's well accessoried for what it is. This one like was like super confusing, like not unwelcome. I will say that, because the hybrid style toy went all up in price. So getting another run of it was fine. It was just so unexpected and so weird. Like even like that weird like rooster Autobot symbol that you see on the box was not emulated on the toy at all. And that was kind of like a hallmark of that run of like the modified Autobot symbols that would appear on the toys to kind of designate this is like a Year of the whatever figure. This is a fine reissue to have, but to come out of nowhere and to be like so unlike anything else in the Zodiac run of figures threw everybody off. Like, and I'm still confused why they didn't do anything with this toy. Good reissue to do. Strange they didn't do anything with it. If you've been keeping up with the daily videos, then you will have recognized this guy because we just talked about him during the Astrotrain video. So once again, we have to discuss this Platinum Edition Astrotrain. Again, we're not sure what this thing is supposed to be. The Blitzwing it came with, we can see the intention pretty well. It's a Flywheels homage because it has a jet and a tank mode. Same modes that toy has. The jet mode is maroon red and the tank mode is brown. Same as Flywheels. So that was clear. And that toy actually looks really good in those colors. It's my headcanon Autobot color scheme if he had said yes to Rodimus back in season 3. But this was... we still don't know. The best guess anyone has is that it's a homage to Mock Tackle from the Multiforce from Transformers Victory. And maybe because there is a shuttle involved in Mock Tackle, but like not a train. And yes, it's orange, white, and blue overall, but one that's more purple on this toy rather than blue. But also, like, the color layout is completely off. Like, completely wrong for Mock Tackle. So, I'm just going to chalk this up to, I don't know. Like, we genuinely have no idea. Like, they have so many options with Astrotrain. Keep in mind, to date, we have never had a authentic color, like, cartoon accurate repaint of the G1 Astrotrain mold released in the US. Technically, they've never done it because the Japanese one used pink instead of purple. This could have been great. This could have been a great opportunity to give American fans what they've been asking for out of an Astrotrain reissue forever. Orange. For some reason, we threw in orange. So our Astrotrain looks like he's going through a re-entry in a really weird angle that only hits some spots of him. That hits the top of his shuttle mode for some reason. It's going to confuse us forever until we can actually like track down the designer who decided this and can actually answer the question, why? Why did you decide to do this to this poor toy? Until then, we will never know. So feel free to speculate. It's always fun. Every now and then, Hasbro goes all out for something, and you have no idea why they decided to just, like, let off the brakes then. You appreciate it, but you're confused. And nothing was more confusing than seeing these guys again. So, for whatever reason, during the Bumblebee movie, I guess since it was all 80s aesthetic, they decided, like, let's do something weird, and we'll release some cassette bots alongside, like repaints of our like Studio Series or Bumblebee toys that are going to be in like the Bumblebee movie toy line. So they did these special like Pulse exclusive multi-packs that had the vintage cars in like gold paint schemes. And then for whatever reason, they packed in reissues of the Dino cassettes that had never come out in America. The combiner ones that Japan had exclusively released. The ones that can go for like roughly around $1,000 a pop each because they were so rare and so obscure. And now Hasbro just straight up reissued them. Yes, there's like a repaint in translucent colors for each of them. That was a weird route to go, Hasbro. But seriously, all 4 of the Dino cassettes out of nowhere. And keep in mind, like, this wasn't like a situation, we found out later, like, this wasn't a situation of like, hey, we dug up the molds and thought this would be fun to throw in as a bonus. No. Like, this was from the ground up, from the original material, remaking the molds, specifically to do this, so they could release these in the US for the first time. And I appreciate that effort. I absolutely do. I love having them in my collection, because I literally thought I would never own them. But the idea, like, they could have just done Laserbeak and Ravage, and I don't think anyone would have complained. Like, I think the only reason they went with these is to not interfere with any of the other, like, ones that we had seen throughout the movies. You know, we have a Frenzy, we have a Laserbeak, we have a Ravage. So, like, as to not interfere with any of them, let's just dump cassettes that, you know, are completely safe. I don't understand it, but I appreciate it. It's weird. It's random. It ends up on the list deservedly. Doesn't mean I don't love it. If you've been following the channel long enough, this will come as to no surprise to you whatsoever. Of every reissue I have ever seen, the one that made me scratch my head the most was Retrax. This is not a shock to anybody. This is one of my least favorite toys of all time. In Beast Wars, a toy line that exemplified the evolution of articulation in Transformer toys, putting a heavy focus on ball joints and modern motion in a toy, bringing action figure into the toy line. Here's Retrax with no upper body articulation whatsoever aside from his head, incredibly bad balance issues, a toy that suffers entirely for like its spring-loaded gimmicks, granted, in character for the beast mode, but still. You have like such a limited window for a reissue line. So many classic characters that you could have done from Beast Wars, and someone at Hasbro decided to release Retrax. I don't know if that's because there's not many surviving molds from Beast Wars. They did get used a lot throughout the 90s and 2000s, and they had been reissued multiple times. I don't know if it's just these were the only ones we could find, so let's just release this. I don't know if it's just someone from Hasbro going, wouldn't this be funny if we did this? But like everything about this is wrong. Number one, no one cares about Retrax. And I say that in a hyperbolized way. I know there's a few fans of the little death ball out there. But you have him like released in rock bubble packaging. How dare you disgrace rock bubble packaging like that? Like that is sacred. That there's a very few toys that should be in rock bubble packaging, sir, and you are not one of them. You have a misassembled figure because he came with his antenna put in the wrong way. And you have a figure released without all of its original parts because it's missing the middle bug legs. Okay, so we're going to reissue a toy that is largely despised by the fandom, that no one ever asked us to reissue. We are going to pack him in an homage packaging that he was never in before, so even the packaging is not going to be like as retro as it's supposed to be. We're going to misassemble him, and just for fun, we're just going to lose track of 2 of his legs somewhere in production. Why not? It's the strangest thing. It's the most confusing thing. I would have taken repaints. I would have taken a Shadow Panther on card. It's something we never got in the US. I would have taken a Pack Rat repaint. Like that would have screwed up so many people that owned that original Bakon Pack Rat would have been so angry. But like literally anything but Retrax of all things. I have to assume it was just the mold they had lying around at the time. Maybe it's like a contractual thing. They had to present this many toys to Walmart or else, they're going to get in trouble or whatever. So release whatever we can find. Either way, you had so much opportunity with a Beast Wars reissue line and you do this. Incredibly disappointing to me. It's super weird too, just super weird. So there you go. There's 10 examples of really strange reissues throughout Transformers. And I kind of expected Hasbro to be at the hands of most of this, but like this is actually pretty even. Kind of surprised. So, obviously these are not all the weird ones, so you can go ahead and discuss the ones below. Tell me about the ones that I missed, or tell me about the weirdest ones you ever came across in this list or not. So, that's your assignment for the day. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.